Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the easiest croissant you could ever make. All can be done with one hand or two. So let's get started. I'm doubling up my recipe because I like to batch cook and I can freeze these. So first of all, in these bowls here I have bread flour and salt. I'll put the measurements up as I'm speaking. Now bear in mind, I'm doubling mine, so here's the next lot. Exactly the same weights as I've just put up. All I'm going to do is blend this a tad. There we go. Just a couple of goes. In these jugs here, I have my water, 2 teaspoons of yeast, and I have my sugar, which I think is 50 grams, but could be wrong. All I'm going to do now is put my blender on. You can do this by hand, but I prefer to use this to do it. All I'm going to do now is pour my yeasts into the mix and keep it going to a dough. Okay, I've got this to a dough, but I've still got some stuff around the sides. So what I'm going to do now, if she can get it open, there we go, use my shoulder, is I'm just going to knock any flour back down to the bottom. I'm then going to mix this for around 6 minutes. If you're doing this by hand, you want to give this a 10-minute knead. When the dough looks gluey like this, look, beautiful, and it comes away from the edges of the pot, we're done. If you're doing this by hand, it is a damp dough. You can do this on a floured board, but try to use, or an oiled board, try and use the least amount possible. Here's our dough. Now what I need to do is transfer this to a bowl that I've oiled. There we go. So I'm going to cover this now with a lid. You can just put a damp tea towel or whatever over the top, and I'm going to leave this now to double in size. I'll see you when that's done. Well, my dough has doubled in size. I'm going to leave that there for a moment. Here we're going to need either cling film, or what I do is cut the bottom and one side off of sandwich bags, because I do not manage cling film very well. We also have 113 grams of butter. Now you can see this needs to be really, really soft. I left this at room temperature and it was soft, but still need it really soft but not melted. So that's the butter, which we're going to need in a moment. I'll put that there. What we're going to do is just flour, generously flour, our work top. Here we go. Turn out my dough. Oh, there it went. In one bit, how about that? Now bear in mind, I've doubled my recipe, so yours won't be as big as this, unless you're going to double the recipe. I just think if I'm going to make these, I want to be doing it and freezing some, because they freeze beautifully. Okay, we're going to make this into a sausage. And it needs to be 20 inches wide. Now I know on my board I need to start here and finish here. So here we go. Just make it into a nice even sausage. There we go. That's the width of it. And now I need to cut this into 10 pieces. So every 2 inches, this is why I've done it on my mat, because I've got the measurements here and it's wonderful. There we go. So every 2 inches. Okay, so just make these into rough balls and place them on flour. There we go. So we should have 10. So we now got 10 balls. The last one's going to stay here. Just pat it down and then get yourself a piece of plastic or cling film ready. What we're going to do is roll this out. Make sure it's properly floured because I don't want it sticking to my side, but I've got my scraper just in case. We're going to roll this to a few millimetres, about 1/8 of an inch thick. That'll do me. Try and get it fairly even. Now what we're going to do is take our butter. Bearing in mind we've got to cover 10 pieces of dough. And this is why the butter needs to be really soft. Or what you're going to do is pull holes in this. And I do it with my hand, because the heat from my hand will help that spread. There we go. You make sure you cover all of it. Pull it out. And it will grow, as you can see. So you just make sure you've got a coating of butter all over this piece of dough. There we go. That's that one. Then you pick it up and put it on your piece of plastic. There we go. First one done. Plenty of butter on that. Here we go again. We're going to do a second one. Same thing, roll it out to round about the same size as that one over there. You don't have to be too accurate, because once you've got it on, you can always adjust it on there and stretch it. So here comes my butter. I'm going to dot that about. You can see how soft this butter is, and it does need to be that soft. I did this before, and my butter I hadn't sort of squished down, and what happened was I pulled great big holes into the dough, and that's not what we want. We don't want big holes. So ease it. This is quite therapeutic, I think. I like this, and I'm getting myself in a mess, and we all know that I enjoy doing that. Right, let's get that spread. You just make sure you've got it right to the edges everywhere, all over. There we go. There's another bit done, more or less. Excuse me, with my glasses. There we go. Okay, this is where it does get awkward, isn't it? Because now we've got to lift this and place it on top of that one. Now I'm going to go that way because that looked more convincing to me. And all you've got to do is fit it to the one underneath. Once you've done the first one and got it on, this is really easy. There we go. Right, we just keep going here now, layering each one on top of the other, so you've got 10 layers going. Last bit going on. As you can see, I've got a nice stack going on. This doesn't look nearly as big, does it? And it's a weird shape, don't worry. Put it on and just pull it into shape. These move about quite easily, so don't be worried about doing it. You've got to be a tad gentle, clearly. Right, there we go. That's our thin pastry dough is ready to go. Now all I'm going to do is cover this, maybe wrap it a bit, fold it in. I want it to be a bit like a parcel, because this is now going to go in the freezer. And it's going in 30 minutes, because what I want is for this butter, get my hand underneath, quick over, there we go. What I want is for the butter to solidify a tad, so we can handle it later. I've got lots of plastic here, look. You can never have enough as far as I'm concerned. There you go. And I cannot do cling film. There we go, we've got a parcel. It's all covered. Nothing's showing. Now, 35 minutes in the freezer. No more, or you're not going to be able to roll it later. I'll see you in 30 minutes. I've rested this in the freezer now for 30 minutes. Now, the beauty of this recipe is you could actually do this instead of putting this bit in the freezer. What you could do is get to the stage where you've buttered it all and leave it in the fridge overnight. So you could do this over a couple of days. But if you want to do it quick or in a day, this is the way to do it. There we go. And off come my bags. Right, I've laid this, as you saw, on a floured surface. I'm going to roughly do the top. It's got the shape of the bag on it, but that really doesn't matter. I've got both of my rolling pins here. You want something to cut with. I've cut down some greaseproof paper and I have my baking trays all ready to go. So, what we're going to do, I'm thinking, bearing in mind, I have doubled my recipe, so I'm going to cut this roughly in half so that I can deal with it easier. I'm hoping that's not going to stick to the side now. Okay, we've got our pastry. If you're doing one times the recipe, this is what you'll end up with. Now, what we need to do is roll this into a big square, as big as you can do. It wants to be about 4 or 5 millimetres thick. You can't really put it, take the offcuts off of this to use, because what we're really wanting is this layering that's going on in there, all those layers we did. It's a bit like making puff pastry, only we're doing this with dough. There we go, ready to go. I have a very sharp knife and I've got my cutter, and what I need to do is cut this into triangles. Now I'm trying to decide, you can either go this way with it, which I think may be the better option. So here we go, corner to corner. This is my way of doing it, and as you know, aesthetically not brilliant. Now I'm going to go from this corner to that corner. Should have been about half, but it isn't. There we go. So we've now got huge triangles. Now I'm going to break these down into smaller triangles. So just keep going until your triangles are done. Okay, now Going to pull those over there. Not quite cut through. I want these out of my way, these ones, because what we're now going to do is roll these up. So, starting at the bottom, and as you can see, I'm going to end up with all different sizes. You can be a bit more accurate than this. I'm not brilliant, but they're going to taste well. There we go, there's one. And I'm going to place that and just make it into a crescent shape. Okay, next, and you just keep going. Roll the bottom upwards. Once you get there, you'll be able to probably give it a roll like that. There we go. Right to the end of the triangle. Place it on your baking tray, triangle side down, and make it into a crescent. Leave some space because these are going to grow. And then just carry on until you've got all of these done. Oh, that's a nice triangle. That's a very nice triangle. Here we go. Roll it up. Brilliant. Oh, well chuffed with that one. Look at that. Right, I'm going to carry on doing these until they're all ready. And I'll come back. Okie dokie. Here are the croissants that I got. Now, I doubled my recipe, and as you can see, I've got all sorts of shapes and sizes. I've done a tray of small ones, and I've done some bigger ones as well. Now, what we need to do is egg wash these with a whole egg, just beaten with a tablespoon of water. And we're going to stick just a quick bit of egg wash on these because we don't want them to dry out. So we're going to egg wash them, going to cover them with some greaseproof paper which I'm oiling, and then I'm going to leave these until they're doubled in size. I'll see you then. Well, here are my croissants, and as you can see, they're looking much better now they've grown a bit. They're doubled in size, and so now I'm going to put them in a preheated oven for 20 minutes until they're really nice and golden brown and looking nice and dry and crunchy on top. I'll see you when they're done. Well, here are my beautiful croissants. I'm very, very pleased with these, and how simple was that to do? Now I put them on a wire rack once they were cooked, and they've cooled down beautifully. I mean, look, these are just absolutely wonderful. Now I'm going to freeze a lot of these, the ones that we're not going to eat today. I'm going to freeze them straight away so they stay nice and fresh. Then I can just defrost them and eat them. Well, I've put some of my homemade apricot jam into this one, and I'm going to eat this now. Oh wow. Can you hear that? Crunchy and gorgeous. All those layers are in there. That is delicious. I have got to tell you. Now you can do this over a couple of days and prepare the dough. When you get to the point where I put it in the freezer for 30 minutes to solidify the butter, just bung it in the fridge overnight. That will slow down the proving process, and it will set your butter so you can do it the next morning if you want to. I did it all in one go, but they have come out beautiful. Looks just like the bakery. I am so happy. These are buttery and beautiful. What a treat. Well, if you liked what you saw, please like, share, subscribe to see me making more delicious, affordable food. Thank you for watching.